Hi, everybody. How's it going? I'm George Taylor. I'm the founder of Gramersi.com. It's the end of the year. It's Christmas time. So I thought now would be a really great opportunity to invite back Emma Thornton from Chewy Skincare to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I was looking through the archive the other day and I just couldn't believe that it's been a year and a half since we last featured you. Time has just flown by. I mean, it was insane. It just doesn't feel like that at all. So I was going to ask, obviously a lot has happened in the last year and a half. Could you give us a little bit of a recap as to, what you've been up to since we last featured you?
Yeah, I mean, there's been so much that's gone on, and I think as a founder of a small business, it's hard not to let your personal life directly impact your professional life. So they're very intertwined. There's a lot that's happened in both of those parts. So from a personal perspective, we because of the stamp duty holiday, we've had to move out of our old house. We kind of were trying to find a house for 6 months, and we've now found kind of our forever home, which is great. But that really put a strain on me. I suffered from burnout at the time, and it kind of really made me realize how much of an impact stress can have on your body and mind, and relationships and everything like that. Then from a professional perspective, because we were moving and all of this nightmare, we actually ended up moving warehouse 3 times. um, so that was fun. And up until February this year, it was just myself within the business. And we're now a team of 7. So we've grown a lot over the last few months. We've now kind of settled in our lovely new warehouse in Abingdon. We built our own lab, and when I say we built our own lab. We were literally on the floor with screwdrivers, and yeah, I've got a fantastic team now, with a huge amount of experience, all such like great attitudes. We've launched some really exciting new products. So we have our 1% hyaluronic acid complex. We've got our new moisturizer, which is just launched. A pumpkin and willow bark gel mask, which is like a kind of natural alternative to BHA. So we've had loads, and we've got some really exciting things coming up next year as well. So yeah, I also got married. That was another thing that happened as well. So technically, I'm Mrs. Emma Roberts, but keeping my maiden name from a professional perspective. So yeah, a lot of definitely been a roller coaster of a year.
I'll be watching from the periphery, and I've been
Yeah.
keeping tabs on you, Emma. I was going to ask. So obviously, at the time you were kind of a one-woman band, weren't you? So you've now got employees, you've now got staff. Also, did you ever pursue the investment avenue in, or was that something you didn't bother going down, or is that something that you're going to be looking into next year?
Yeah, so yeah, we've got a team of 7 now. So that we do all of our pick and pack and R&D and everything in-house. And all of our procurement, etc. So we've got our warehouse manager, we've got our cosmetic chemist, social media and customer skin specialist, marketing executive, um, our accounts side, and finance and operations director, as I said, all with a huge amount of experience from kind of Nivea to the Hut Group to Pi, etc. So yeah, really, really pleased to have them on board. Obviously it comes with different challenges, and I think it's quite, maybe I was perhaps a little bit naive to think, oh, by employing people, it would allow my time to be freed up to get on with the things that I'm good at. But you do spend a lot of time kind of trying to manage, the team and keep everyone in the loop, and it's quite difficult to separate yourself from the day to day when you've been so involved in the business. When I say so involved, the only person in the business for such a long time, and you've banked up all this information. Um, but with regards to the investment, I didn't go through with the investment from Deborah Meaden. I can't remember whether we touched on that last time. We basically so much had happened between time of filming and the time of airing that it just wasn't kind of viable as a valuation anymore. We had interest from the US, which touched upon a bit later maybe, and just kind of you don't discuss terms and things like that, even though you're in there for an hour and 45 minutes, you don't discuss those terms. So, but we did get some investment from our existing investor, Gary Watts, who continues to support us. We've also got a great advisory board. So we've got Gary Watts, we've got Faith Speedy, who is actually a former colleague of mine, former CSO at Tangle Teaser, and Peter Littlewood, who was the chairman of Bulldog. So yeah, really great team on board, both from kind of the employee perspective, but also an advisory perspective, all there to kind of work towards the end goal.
Fantastic. Sounds like you've kind of got over the line now, because I know you were sort of running towards that line for a long time, weren't you? But it sounds like you've actually crossed over now. Like you've gone over that line, and that means that from here onwards, everything's kind of an upward trajectory, isn't it? That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a challenging year, it's been a really bizarre year. So I don't think there's any, as a startup, there's definitely no clear upwards direction. You are always going to hit hurdles. You're always going to have times which are much tougher than others, and sometimes you feel like you're hitting your head against a brick wall, and often thinking, why on earth am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through this? But when you can kind of push those negative thoughts aside, and whether it's a great review from a customer, or getting a new retailer on board, or just having a good day of e-commerce sales, it's those are the kind of things that get you through. And also the camaraderie of having a team now, let alone their expertise, because the finance and operations side, for example, is definitely not my strong point, but they're obviously essential to running the business. But aside from their expertise, like having those people to kind of bounce ideas off and say, we've got this opportunity. Do you think it's right? Like, is it actually achievable? Whereas before, I was just having that conversation in my head and essentially battling with the angel and devil on my shoulder, telling me what I should and shouldn't do. So yeah, it's a different dynamic for sure.
And I think that the den really took you to new heights, because when we did that article about you, the first one, I think it was 2020, we first did the piece on you, it was like, we didn't, no offense, we didn't get a huge amount of traffic on it. But after Dragon's Den, we every year since then, I mean, last year and this year, everything we've done about you has been in our top 10 most popular content pieces for the year. So obviously that means that a lot of people are, they're Googling you, they're looking you up, and for us, we've gained a lot of visitors just from your brand, and people come on and they obviously love the article and they engage with the article. So it's obvious that your name's on the map now, and you're getting, significant amount of Google traffic a month. So it's really, really good to see. And I was just going to talk about, could you just quickly wrap up like your key highlights for 2022?
Yeah, sure. So key highlights of 2022. I think definitely growing the team and finding our kind of work home in Abingdon. And there's definitely been some times where I've kind of questioned whether we've had the right people on board, and we've kind of altered that, but we've now got an amazing team on board. So yeah, definitely growing the team, launching some of our best-selling products to date. For example, a moisturizer and a hyaluronic acid, and also securing some really massive deals that are going to be coming through next year. So I would say that those are the three things. And getting married, of course.
Well,
So from a
getting married is
professional
always a good thing, you
perspective,
know. That's a good thing, you know. I'll let that one slide.
I,
But
I
yeah,
think this year has definitely been about building and laying the foundations in order to grow the business. Like this year, we haven't done any marketing. We haven't done any PR at all. It's just kind of when people have decided to write about us, just because we were in this position after last year where, you know, everything was going so quickly that I didn't have time to sort out our inventory, sort out the team, etc. So this year has really been about just laying those foundations so that we can then grow next year. So yeah, it's exciting.
sounds great. I'm going to talk about mine actually now. We've also had a bit of a crazy year. I mean, we've been going for 2.5 years now. Now, obviously, for the first 2 years, we were essentially doing it for free, voluntarily, because we knew we had to build an audience first. And we weren't in a position where we were getting enough visitors to be charging advertising. And to be honest, in the end, we just decided to go against that, because it was like, the problem is if you look at the publishing industry, the market's on the decline from a revenue standpoint, because you know, less people are using ad blockers, less people are clicking on ads. So naturally, you know, if you've got a big newspaper, they're having to find new innovative ways of trying to drive revenue. But for us, regardless of which avenue we decided we wanted to go down, we still had to build a big enough online presence and readership in order for us to justify ever putting a kind of price tag on it. But what we decided to do in the end was we decided to make the content shoppable, so that if someone's reading an article about a brand, they can go, oh, I like this story, I like this founder, I like these guys' vision, I like what these guys are doing. They relate to that person or that story or that brand. So we thought, well, instead of sending them off to an affiliate website where they have to type in a discount code and do that stuff, why don't we just speed up the transaction by making sure that we host that transaction through the website? So we launched our marketplace in kind of stealth mode in like May, which was, to be honest, it was just been an interesting experience. It really has. Like I'll hold my hand up and say I wasn't really an e-commerce guy, so I felt like I just jumped into the deep end with my blindfold on, and there was sharks in the water, and I had no idea how it was going to come out in one piece. So yeah, there's been a lot of well, it's been a huge education curve really for me, and you know, we've had to continuously pivot the website to improve conversions, you know, make the user experience more friendly and find an effective way of getting brands on board. So there's been a whole new thing that's come with that. And obviously there's a big risk attached to that as well, because if you think about it, people know us as A and now we're B. So we you know, were we going to alienate our audience or were we going to bring them closer? We didn't know. So it's been a huge learning curve. And obviously now we're at a point where we have started to make some monthly revenues, which is fantastic. Feels good to finally get to that point when you've been working so hard for so long to finally actually see some cash trickle into the bank account. We've got some really popular products on the website, and next year we're launching in January, so a hard launching. We're just working on a really big software development piece at the moment, which will be done by the end of the year, and then January is where we hit the big go button, and that's when we launch. And obviously we haven't really done too much as far as marketing and telling people about it. We've kind of kept it on the low down. We've been working on it in the background just to see, you know, how are our existing readers engaging with this new technology? Like what are they doing? Are they going to click onto a page? Are they going to add to a basket? Like what are they going to do? You know, but I feel like we're at a point now where we're ready to take that step up. So next year for us is a bit like what you said. It's a bit about laying the foundations, trying to build a business off of what we now have and kind of move it into an area where we're giving the customer what they want. That's really what we're trying to achieve next year. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly. And also you've got that data now. So, you know, I think, you know, having the data to understand your customer and the areas that, you know, they are interested in and having that conversion, what converting over towards is pretty invaluable. So really exciting for you guys.
thanks. And next year, you know, that's been our highlight. Our highlight has been, can we make money out of this or can we not? That's really the
Yeah.
question. No,
It's all part of a it's all learning, isn't it? For sure. It's I
and
don't think
it
you ever
is.
stop learning.
And
I think I'm
my goal for 2023 is to just do more of it. Is just to build that in a consistent kind of fashion. So I'm going to ask, what are your goals 2023?
So next year is our year of big growth. That's the plan. We've got kind of big ambitions. We're launching with 4 new retailers at the start of next year in the UK. We are launching in the US from a direct consumer perspective, but also a retailer later in 2023. We're also launching in Europe with a large e-commerce retailer and our own D2C side. So kind of global expansion. In the UK, despite not kind of doing any marketing this year, we're getting a really good rate of sale. So, for example, with Holland & Barrett, we've increased our store count from around 100 stores to 337. And just continuing to grow our existing accounts, but our kind of new accounts that are coming on board are super exciting as well. We're kind of going into channels which we haven't yet touched. So yeah, we've also got some really cool MPD launching next year. So really excited about that as well.
Sounds fantastic. Now, one thing I want to talk about is obviously looking back on this year, it hasn't been the easiest year for everybody. We sort of bounced from a pandemic and lockdown into a war and a war in Ukraine. We bounced into a kind of cost of living crisis, increased utility bills, inflation, recessions, all just a lot of negative stuff. So I was going to ask, do you have a message for the people in these difficult times?
Don't compare yourself to everyone else. Keep focused on your objectives and the positive aspects of life at the moment. It's just been kind of one thing after another over these last few years, and especially as a small business. We have Brexit, trying to navigate that. We then had COVID. Then there's the war. There's the cost of living crisis, and you're kind of just like, come on, give us a break. But as a small business, for example, it's really easy to see all this this spam on LinkedIn, for example, of look at the success we've had. We're constantly growing. We've won all these awards, when actually the reality probably behind those LinkedIn posts is there's probably a founder sitting there crying, being like, what am I doing? And it's kind of, I think people just need to start being really honest and open. Everyone is going through problems at the moment, and we need to really be helping each other to navigate through those problems in whichever way possible. For us, for example, we kind of pride ourselves, and always have done, on offering more affordable alternatives. Within the beauty industry, it's always been quite resilient, because people, what they call the lipstick effect, when there's a recession, people still want to feel good about themselves, so still invest in what was luxury goods, but we're seeing that on the decline now, and people are looking for more affordable alternatives. But price, like, costs are going up for us all. But we have kind of stuck to our guns and said, we still need to be an affordable alternative, particularly as these luxury brands with 90% margins are continuing to increase their price points. But yeah, I think it's kind of just staying true to yourself, trying to look for the positives throughout everything, and just remembering that this will not last forever. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just as to when it's gonna shine a little bit brighter.
That's a really powerful message, Emma. Thanks for that. And I'm going to add on to that, if you don't mind, by saying that we were born during a pandemic, and it was interesting because when we launched this thing, we didn't realise in which way this is going to pan out. So, but the fascinating thing, and I think the thing that's really solidified who we are and what we do, is that we were writing stories about single mums, their husbands had walked out during the pandemic and they'd lost their jobs. They would found themselves in these dire situations. I mean, honestly, everything that could possibly be done to mankind, we've written about a lot of them, and what really blew me away, the thing that inspired me the most, and the thing that actually got me out of bed in the morning, was the fact that so many of these people are did so many amazing things during such a dark time. And to be honest with you, I don't think this is any different to that. I just think it's the problems change to something else. But we have seen so much new innovation coming out this year. I have no doubt we're going to see the same thing next year. That's what we do. We tell people about those brands, those innovations, those hard times, the success stories that come along with that. So my message is, I think the nation will continue to do that in the way that they seem to have done since we started. So moving on to Christmas, actually, obviously it is Christmas in this video. We're going to drop on Christmas Day. That's part of our Christmas message. So I just wanted to say, to kind of wrap up, I just wanted to say thank you very much to everybody that we've worked with this year, that has supported us, that has read our articles, shared our videos, purchased products from the website, has given us a chance, PR companies that have reached out to us, the brands that have reached out to us, just everybody that we've worked with this whole year. Now, obviously, it'd be impossible for me to mention those. It'd take me 3 hours to list that long list of people. So I'm not going to be specific. I'm not going to mention any specific names. You know who you are. So, and actually, I will thank you, Emma, for top 10 article of the year. I just want to say, I know it's been a difficult year, but I want to, on behalf of the whole Gramersi team, I want to wish everybody an amazing Christmas. Next year is going to be great, and enjoy time with your family, whatever it is you're doing, and wishing you all the best. And I'm going to see if there's anything Emma would like to say onto that.
I've just kind of got to echo that, the amount of support that we've continued to see over the last year, like everything from reviews, which just means so much. I can't even explain how much they mean. To people purchasing from us as a small business, and our fellow small businesses as well. Just a huge thank you. It's been a challenging year on so many levels. But here's to 2023, and well done to everyone for getting through the last year. You can give yourselves a pat on the back and have a glass of bubbles.